Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Top Deck Heroes, your number one source for all of your UFS Universes information. Tonight we have one fewer host because I guess they're cooking. They'll probably be joining us later. So we have myself, Sean O'Brien, Jesse Cervini, and Tim Keefe. Welcome, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
We have an exciting show tonight. I've been looking forward to this show all week. We're going to be revealing, at the end of the show, our first round of finalists for the Create Your Own DLC event. Jesse, Tim, and and Kevin, even though he's not here, we'll give him credit. We got together over the weekend. We reviewed all the submissions. I think we had 29 DLC submissions. And we chose our favorite 5 from Death, Evil, and Life. So we'll find out who those are a little later. But first, it's time for the weekly survey.
The weekly survey. The weekly survey.
I love the little...
Take it on, Sean.
All right, so the weekly survey. This week, we surveyed an oldie but a goodie that I used to run in my decks all the time back when I played 5-handers off of Evil back in 2007. And that is Irresistible Force. This is an action card. It's a 2/4 with a +1 mid-block. Has Earth, Evil, and Fire. Great symbols. It says E. If your opponent's hand size is greater than yours, this attack gets +X damage. X equals 3 times the difference between your opponent's hand size and your hand size. If your opponent has at least twice as many cards in their hand as you do, your attack is unblockable. This card was so good back in the day, except it wasn't. It really wasn't. Unless you had like a
It's
bunch
just
of...
worse absurd string.
Well, what you do back in my day, and Jesse, you can back me up, is you would play a 5 or 6-hander because 7 and 8s were all the rage. And you'd play Chain Throw. We'll start off with Chain Throw. You'd play some absurd strengths, get your hand size down, and then you'd Irresistible Force them right at the end.
And it kills them.
And then they're dead. And then they take 30.
Yeah, and then they take 1 because they played Rejection.
Rejection came later, Tim.
Yeah, this is one of the few cards that this was the weird
The
time.
in-between era. Yeah.
Yeah, this was Fire aggro, Evil aggro was the my god, this card brings back Jeffrey Kahn when he could play
Alex.
All he did was he played Alex, or he played Alex all the time, but we found like 3 different characters that like you literally could put these 4 characters in front of this same deck every time, and it was the same thing. It was scary. God, this is in like the early Sealed Fixation days. Oh,
Yeah, this was maybe they had Yoga Mastery and they just added the top card of their deck to their card pull face down.
Yeah, you were pretty sad if they had a Yoga Mastery. You better have a Lost Memories to take care of that guy.
Yeah.
Lost Memories, Impetuous. Impetuous was my go-to.
I just started with the board. That's all I ever did with this deck. There was also for actually a long time, for about 4 months, there was a card from the KOF set that came out corresponding to this set that was pretty much F commit. All of our control checks are 0. That card was nuts.
Was that the Noble Scion of the Odious Bloodline?
Odious Bloodline, yeah. There was just like, oh, it was like, you need counters for this. I'm like, oh, they didn't put that text that you must remove a counter. Oh, so it's just F commit, all checks are 0. This turn. Oh, that card was crazy.
Oh, man. And then, I mean, after this era, I moved on to Starter Deck Akuma, which he just said, E commit, tap X Foundations, your opponent taps X Foundations. And then you Tiger Fury them, because back in those days, I had 55 Foundations in my stage. Mega Ultra Deadlock.
Ultra Deadlock.
Don't give Jason any ideas. We'll start saying double deadlock on cards.
Double
Deadlock.
I double deadlock dare you to have 20 Foundations. Alrighty, so let's, now that we're done, Jesse and I being old men reminiscing about the bad old days. Let's talk about Irresistible Force in Standard. So initially when I looked at this card, I looked at it before the Goro ban. I'm like, no, we can't possibly put this on with a straight face as long as Goro's legal.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's been so little actual like games being played in Standard that my first reaction when I saw this was like, wait a minute, doesn't Goro just break this in half?
Goro is banned.
Like, yeah, it took me a while to remember that.
That's the old. I like I said, I looked at this before and I'm like, no. Some folks mentioned Coffee Sama could be a little nutty with this card. Oh, you don't have twice as many cards as me? Let's smell the coffee. I'm gonna put some cards into your hand. Tap you out, play some cards out of my hand. Irresistible Force. Get out of here. I think this would be very powerful today, honestly. Attacks are so much better than back in those days. Like, you needed cards like Irresistible Force and Absurd Strength, I think, back in 2006, 2007, because the attacks were, like, formatted for 4s on 6 difficulty, right?
A 5/3 5 damage throw was, like, such a monster of the format that it was like a $12 uncommon or something like that.
Chain
throws were, yeah, they were 12 to 15. I remember selling play sets for 60 consistently anyway. Like 60 shift. Like, oh, all day. Loved it.
I remember I traded for my first set of chain throws. My friend Ren, he needed he wanted to go out to dinner with us. He wanted to go to Friendly's. He's like, hey, I'm a little short on cash. Do you mind if I give you some chain throws, taking me out to Friendly's? I'm like, sure. I'll even get you ice cream. Of course, this was back when if you got the right entree, you got free ice cream with your meal. Back in the good old days. But yeah, I think, with the quality of tax being higher, I think there's more playable low hand size characters. I think this card would be very powerful, but I don't know if it would break the game. Like, it doesn't even remove itself in cost. Like, you actually have to get around the progressive difficulty of having this in your card pool for the rest of the turn. Right?
I think, though, there's enough... There's the right characters that could... Like, you could send something as unblockable. Like, you get something to potato lethal situation where it's like, I need to get this to set the 7 damage. All right, I got my attack to 7 damage. All right, now it's unblockable because I've just been discarding my cards, my hand, to get rid of cards.
Yeah, now that you mention that, like if you play like a fire deck and go like move, do some big shots, maybe you got a big shot or 2 in your hand, you get your hand down small, and then you just Irresistible Force them out of the game. I mean, big shots make things unblockable. This makes things technically unblockable.
Yeah. Alloraphobia exists.
Cats.
And we've had a few cards like this. This is one of those cards that if people are playing it, it's because they feel like they've broken it in half in some sort of unfair way. And if they're not doing that, they're not playing this card.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like you could print it, but the odds on the roulette wheel, so to say, that this is going to land on like see some play but isn't a problem. There aren't too many spaces on the wheel where it toes that line.
Well, I think we just Libra of Souls this, right? We'll print it, see what happens. We'll print it at ultra rare, actually.
Rare, yeah.
Print it at ultra rare, see what happens, and then just ban it.
Yep.
If it's a problem, right? That's how we do things now.
Why not?
Yeah, I think it's too... It really actually, with more thought, it's probably too good. Tim, you think it's too good. Jesse?
I'd find a way to break this, and then I wouldn't tell anybody. I need a champ card.
So if Jesse would use this card to get his champ card, it is broken. Too good for standard. Let's see. Isn't this just plus ultra with more steps? Well, yes. Also,
I sure
no.
hope they change that card. I actually print it.
Since Kevin's not here, we're gonna say he thinks it's just fine, so we can have a dissenting opinion. Let's see what the community has to say. So 27 said it was fine for standard. 21 said it was too good for standard. And 5 folks said it was just not good enough. They probably saw it didn't remove, so it wasn't even that good. Yeah. And it's a 4 check. If we printed this card today, it would be a 1/6 with an off zone block.
It have breaker 2 for no reason. Also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's irresistible. It's just gonna be, boom. It's gonna come in hard. It's gotta breaker. It's gotta mess you up. It's gonna do too much.
I mean, let's throw slam, taunt, and punch on there just for good measure. Gotta get those keywords up.
I have a complaint with this card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Astaroth is attacking a character that I don't think has ever been a 7-hand size.
That's true.
That is Sung Mina, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's always
very often been a 5, actually.
Well, she's been a 6.
Sometimes a 6. She's had some 6s.
But Astaroth's been fairly consistently a 5.
A 5 and a 6. Like
yeah.
It's always.
So I mean, it's theoretically possible this card could be good against Sung Mina in a small subset of games, and with a small subset of Sung Minas.
Those versions of Probably including the one that saw the most play back then was a 6. I think it did like RFG shenanigans and people were meme lords, but.
Well, wasn't like the best one from back then was the
5
hand size where you got to play the same attack again?
Yeah, the one that Jeremy Ray terrorized Legacy with.
Yeah.
What? Oh, Samina.
Yeah.
I was just double checking. I'm like, what was that one Astaroth that was he was a promo, and I was like, yep, that one. What if it deals damage? It had a life gain. It had a life gain of plan. You're just like, if this attack deals damage, gain X vitality. X equals this attack's damage minus its produce damage. So you're just like, make this thing plus 10 damage, and like, oh, I gained 10 vitality. I lost to that a few times. Like, couldn't stop it.
So I think the hosts believe it's too good. The community says it's just fine, which means Jasco, send it to print. We're good to go. We'll be back next week with a new weekly survey. All right, guys. Let's move on to the news. No really major news this week, I don't think. I watched some of the Joffice. More or less, I think it's more of the same. Release date soon. Card text soon. Poke 'em with a stick, do something soon. Right? I think that was more or less the thing.
This seems to be the thing. Also, if Tim Freeze is watching right now, I still haven't gotten my invoice, Tim. Come on. I made the joke. We were actually talking about invoices on the Joffice this week. So I'm like, I gotta make the joke. I'm like, so where's my invoice, Tim? And they actually made a part of their show, and I'm like, he's like, I'll get to you. I'll get it to you. And I'm like,
no invoice.
No invoice.
Alrighty, so we have some character reveals. So last on the 30th, so I think that was last Friday, we got 2 totally new characters we haven't seen before. JK, we don't do that here. We have my best girl, my favorite character, Sue Froppy. We're going to see another version of her in the deck loadable content, which wasn't a surprise, but I was still happy to see it. And then we're going to see Gravity Girl again.
Yep.
I don't think this was really a surprise. This was kind of... I mean, it was a surprise in that initially they didn't say deck loadable content on them, so I think initially I thought they may have just been just the DLCs. But I'm happy to see that my favorite character is getting 2 versions right out the gate. So I'm happy about that. The real news here was on... Was that today or yesterday? They revealed a surprise new character. And that is Channel 3 Static Guy.
I wonder how many people are even old enough to understand.
All right, well, let's explain the joke. So back when Tim, Jesse, and I were much younger, back in the 90s and 80s, when we wanted to play our Nintendo, this was back before we all had cable, but we wanted to play our Nintendo, we'd have to turn the TV to channel 3. And Lord help you if you didn't turn the volume down. Because you would put it to channel 3 and go... and there would just be static on the screen. You kids nowadays have digital TVs, so if you choose a channel that doesn't have any signal, just nothing comes up. We had to deal with static.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, like, if you're listening to a radio. Oh, do they still have radios? I think, yeah. Imagine you're listening to a radio, and your presets got deleted, and it was all set to 87.5. That noise, except you see a bunch of little dots moving around on the screen. That's what static was like.
Yeah, and then you close your eyes, and then you still see them.
That was cool. So I guess this guy's a villain. He wears a nice suit. I think he runs the bar at the bad guy's house.
He's the portals. He likes to play with portals, Sean.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
he makes like a little like fog, and everybody jumps in, and they portal away.
Yeah, and
Portal
he tries
away.
to. This was their plan to kill All Might, right? Like, they were gonna have Nomu. Nomu wasn't gonna kill him. Kurogiri was gonna kill him, right? Nomu was just gonna keep him in one spot, and
They were just gonna like portal him to the moon or something.
Escape during the SRJ or whatever that arc fight scene thing of multiple episodes that could have been done in
USJ.
5 minutes. Yeah, where they're like anytime All Might start like they're like rolling away, you can like all right, portal him back, bring him back. Like that was the whole idea.
yeah, they wanted
It's also the escape plan too.
Yeah, they wanted to close a gate on his waistline and just sort of chop him in half.
Ah, smart. So that leaves just 2 question mark boxes left. We still haven't seen Talks with Animals guy.
Yep.
And we haven't seen
DLC All Might.
DLC All Might.
DLC All
So we
Might.
know one of these.
I mean, I feel really bad for Talks with Animals guy if he's not in this set, because just being the odd man out from Class 1A. I mean, his power's not terrible. Like, his quirk is pretty cool. Especially if you need to, like, fight bad guys on, like, a buffalo preserve. Or...
He has an episode. They like have like there's an episode very early on where like he needs to use the animal. He's like they're in like the forest and he talks with the animals and they bum rush like it is like they bum rush like President Mike or something like that. I can't remember the whole episode.
Yeah, he has to learn to use bugs.
Yeah, he has to learn to talk to bugs. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen Ant-Man. They control ants and they can do lots of cool shit with that.
Yeah, that's season 2. Okay, so like I said, I don't think this guy was very active in season 1.
Yeah, he's kind of a wall decoration in season 1.
Oh, well.
But, so they could, there's other characters in here that probably also didn't do much in season 1, so they probably going to shove him in, but if they don't,
what did
it'll
Tape
be...
Guy even do?
He launches tape out of his elbows.
Well, what did he even do in season 1?
I don't know.
He was probably he probably did some stuff in USJ. Actually.
So is it Space Girl? Who's Space Girl?
The teacher that's just like an empty spacesuit of black
Dark
hole.
Matter.
I forgot about her. She was cool.
Yeah, she doesn't show up in the series like ever again, pretty much. So that could be it if they want to get her in there.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Someday we might even learn what any of these characters do.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed at the slowdown here. Like they were pretty steadily doing one of these each day, or like maybe 4 a week. So I had assumed that by now
the gas is like let up. It's like we're gonna tap that gas just a little bit. Like,
yeah, I thought that by now we'd see what sort of their next social media drip is, and it's starting to look like they have no plan. It's just.
So, Tim, I didn't sign up for the email list. Have you gotten any emails yet?
Have they sent any emails to their 30,000 person email list? No, not that I know of.
Dang. I don't know if they know how floodgates work. Because it's supposed to be floodgates open now, right?
Yeah.
Must be a very empty reservoir, I guess. It's actually only filled up 2 feet.
Yeah, there was a surprise drought.
I mean, it is Las Vegas.
Yeah.
All right, enough trolling Jasco on not being happy with what they're doing. I think they get the point there. Alrighty, so here we're gonna get to the reason why everybody's really here tonight, right? Everybody, we have 12 viewers right now because they want to see if they made the cut, if they made the grade for the Build Your Own DLC competition. Let's see. I picked Jesse to tell everybody what the DLC competition's about.
Ooh. All right. So, as I like to talk about this when anybody asks me. These 29 people submitted a full 12 card. I would say 16. 12 card DLC, consisting of 4 characters and 2 support cards for each character. We provided them the only level of what I like to call the guardrails is these are the 4 symbol sets you must use. We looked it out right now. We have Death, Evil, and Life. We're going to be talking about tonight. We had All Earth and Water that Team Keith had. We had Chaos Void or Air Chaos Void, and then mine was
Whatever's left.
Fire Order Good.
Yep.
Yeah, Fire Good Order, whatever. That combination. But anyway, the objective here is we are making the Rochester CCG Fantasy DLC out of this. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, to talk about and see what people have submitted. And for each symbol combination, we're going to preview over the next month 5 of our finalists. And we're going to talk about them on this one episode. And then we're going to put their designs up for review, I guess. We haven't really figured out how we're going to get the community
do some sort of Facebook polling on it and get some fan feedback.
Yes. I will advise that anybody who thought it was a great idea to submit artwork with a full mock-out of their cards, those will not be showing. We have this because we think it pulls away from people who don't have that capability of Photoshop.
I'm really bad.
And we want to just have, this is what their abilities are. Like, we're reading these, like, paper to nothing out. No art, no nothing. So, and it also could, some people's art choices are some of their own art, and we know them within the community, and we want to separate that from the contest a little bit.
Right. So, with that in mind, the only person who knows whose cards these are is me, because I had to read the email. When Kevin, Jesse, and Tim reviewed the cards, they did not know who submitted them, so it is their opinions are completely unbiased. And I mostly went with the flow, unless there was something I really, 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 really liked. So, we took a couple hours on Saturday. We narrowed it down to 5 finalists, and I think we're ready to get started with it. So we're going to go to our DLC preview screen, and let's go ahead. Boy, I screwed this up somehow. There we go. So our first... Oh, I skipped... Yep, I got the right DLC. So our first DLC tonight is Miles Edgeworth from the Phoenix Wright DLC. One of the things that I really liked about this is people could do their own license, anything their heart desired for DLC. And I deeply regret now doing U.S. presidents instead of Sailor Moon. Yeah, I mistakes have been made. My life is just a series of regrets.
We'll have to do another one of these because I have some great ideas as well.
All right, so Miles Edgeworth is a 6-hand size 28 vitality character with Death, Evil, and Life. Listen to this one, guys. You're never in desperation. Static text. Before the game begins, search your deck for a card, shuffle your deck, and put that card on the bottom of your deck. Once per turn, lose X vitality, name a card. Reveal the bottom X cards of your deck, add a copy of the named card to your hand, and remove the rest. And then F once per game, add a card from your discard pile to the bottom of your deck. Your rival may destroy any number of foundations to add that many cards from your discard pile to the bottom of your deck. Only playable if your rival is in desperation. Wow. Okay, that was a lot.
Yeah. There's where you know, just up front, we didn't really come away thinking that any of these were really perfect. We're gonna have like kind of gripes with all these, and with this one, obviously it's the sheer length of the character card.
But it's so cool.
Yeah, at least it makes it worth it, right? So you've got this really neat thing where twice per game, once before it starts and once if you put your opponent in desperation, you get to handpick a card. And aside from gambling on the enhanced, that's all you do. You will choice select 2 cards per game. And what can you do with that, right? This character sort of asks that question in a very open-ended way that could lead to some pretty interesting deck building.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I loved about this is how much it's like this is a guy from a Phoenix Wright game, right? Like he has his little he has the thing he prepared before the trial, and he has the surprise he has for you midway through the trial, and there's a lot of words here just to set up that joke, but I love that joke.
I really like that the ability is unique enough where it could possibly stand alone without any support cards. Like something like this could be printed as a standalone promo with a straight face if you can get the text down to a reasonable number of lines. Right?
Yeah. I would shave everything after the first sentence on the form. You could keep the only playable maybe, but like the whole middle part doesn't need to be there. There's no reason to make this cancelable.
All right, let's look at the attack. So
no, I don't think they're canceling. I think they are getting the ability to destroy foundations to put more cards on the bottom of your deck.
They're objecting.
The screw with you mechanic, yeah.
Yeah, to make you pay that much more vitality, right? Like your opponent destroys 5 foundations to burn you for 5 isn't.
Yeah.
It'd be a very weird case for somebody to do that.
Well, back to the whole trial thing, if you're a good lawyer, you're going to take notes on what your rival's putting on the bottom of your deck, so you could still say, okay, I'll lose 1 vitality to name this card. I'll lose 1 vitality to name this card on my next turn. And then once you get that to a manageable vitality total, maybe over the course of 2 or 3 turn cycles, then you can get to the card you actually wanted. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can also just pay 5 and get the card you wanted.
True. Well, maybe Tim, I'm in double deadlock, and I'm going to destroy 15 foundations.
Yeah, I wonder if lose X vitality needs to be here, and also like I thought You're Never in Desperation might have been a thematic choice, but now I realize lose X vitality. Maybe we just don't want to have people paying 15 on turn 1.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the attack. The attack is The Truth Will Always Find a Way. It's a 5/3, 4 low for 6 with a 1 mid block, Death, Evil, and Life. It says both players name a card. Discard cards from the top of your deck until one of the named cards is discarded. Add the discarded card to your hand. The player that named the card that was not discarded loses 4 vitality. So basically, you each name a card, you mill until one of you finds the card you named, and if you didn't win, you lose 4.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Stamp of approval. Send that to print.
Is this an action card or an attack? Oh, it's an attack.
This is an okay statted attack, yeah.
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 No special abilities, no keywords. We're just coming in hot.
We're coming in for 6, and one of us is getting what we want.
Yeah, this is sort of the standout card from this group. This is just really neat and interesting, and it's hard to pin down what the power level is, but it's not standout crazy, right? It's something you could send and have test. And, I don't think it's a card just go print just because of the burden it puts on your opponent to sort of guess what cards are in your deck, but...
Well, you only have to know the cards in your...
worth doing it.
You only have to know the cards in your own deck.
No, it's the opponent's
No,
deck.
both players guess what's on top of your deck.
Yeah.
Oh, I misread that.
So they're trying to stop you from finding...
they're trying to pick something that'll come up first.
Yeah, in the best case, they guess a foundation you have 4 copies of that are all still in your deck. That's the top-ish card of your deck. So you burn for 4 and still draw a card. The worst case for your opponent is that they name something that isn't in your deck anymore. They pick a card that you sided out, or that that you're only playing one copy of that you already checked, and then they guess that, and then you draw the attack you wanted, and you burn them for force. It becomes a beefy throw on top of everything else.
Oh, I don't like this as much now. I thought that each player chose something from their own deck for this.
Oh.
And then they milled until somebody got the thing they wanted. Never mind. Let's take this off the top 5. Now I don't like this as much.
I still think it's cool. Like, I don't know.
It's super cool.
It might need some tuning or whatever, but like, it's not. There's no way you wouldn't print this without testing it. But if you had to, I would pick a lot of other cards to stop before I stop this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Downward Spiral?
The cascade mechanic, the idea of discard until you find something, that there's a lot of really cool states for that.
Alrighty, so let's move on to the Foundation. This is unpronounceable. It's a 2-mid, 2/5 plus 2 high block Foundation. Clethrophobia. Unpronounceable.
Cleopatrophobia. Got it.
Cleopatra. 2/5 plus 2 high Foundation. Response flip. Before the block step of your rival's attack, reveal the bottom card of your deck. You may block with the revealed card as if it were in your hand. If you do so, this attack deals no damage.
This is the phobia design I've ever seen in my entire life. By a lot.
We should just make a series of phobia cards that always full block. Have some sort of ability on them that's a full block. Ophidiophobia, Cleopatrophobia.
What's your opponent's life total?
Yeah. Make a Red Horizon card, Arachnophobia, that stop some sort of Vespera themed thing. I don't know.
Yeah, this is neat because you could just get nothing, right? You could, if you want to use this on a non-mid attack and you flip a low block or a non-block, that's it, right? You just flipped your Ophidiophobia for nothing. Otherwise, it's an Ophidiophobia that draws you a card, and you just kind of have to block with whatever that card is. Obviously, if you're Miles, you have some control over this, although that'd be a really rough way to use your abilities, just to go block with the card. But you could if you really wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, if you had some sort of amazing block, or some sort of like really punisher, maybe you have like a Breaker 3 block, right?
And you yin yang.
Yeah, or a yin yang, something devastating at the right time. You want to use your Cleopatrophobia on. Boom. I mean, I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
So
it might be a little undertuned, honestly. This could use the bump that we're taking away from the Truth Will Always Find a Way, I think. Because flip to draw a card is not a good rate for a 2/5.
Or you could be like flip. Like I would think how you do it is you go flip and reveal parts of the bottom of your deck until you reveal a block. Like you I hit non-block. Oh, there's a block.
Yeah, and the other part of this is if you're using this on anything that's not a throw, then the sort of zone fixing property of Ophidiophobia is also moot here if it ends up giving you the right zone.
Yeah.
And then it's flip draw a card unless this is a throw or unless you draw one zone off.
Maybe, if you want to tune this up a little better, maybe the block gets Breaker, or maybe the block clears itself, or maybe it goes something that gives you a little more advantage.
Yeah, it would also be kind of okay to print. I mean, it's got the slightly better block. It's response speed instead of enhanced speed. There are some upsides here too.
Yeah, Ooh. And you can easily buff this kind of effect. Just have it give -2 speed at the same time or something.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that's the Phoenix Wright DLC. Thank you for that submission.
Yep.
Next we have Rugal Bernstein from the King of Fighters DLC. Alrighty, so I guess this was some weird King of Fighters game I can't remember the name of. At any rate, he's a 6 hand size with 26 vitality. Whenever you block with this card, your rival chooses and flips a foundation. Discard a momentum. Your rival's attack loses speed equal to the number of face-down foundations they have in their stage. If you block this attack, you may play a face-down card from your deck into your card pool as a copy of your rival's blocked attack, as if it were your regular reversal, paying all costs, and it gains all 3 of this card's symbols. Ooh boy, we can clean that up a little bit. R once per turn. After you block your rival's attack, they must choose and flip a foundation in their stage. So I
Control.
Yeah.
this
so
is hardcore control.
Yeah, this is another like heavy text, but if we actually wrote that enhanced properly, it would be half as long. So
Yeah, it would be what? Discard momentum, your rival's attack
it's -1 speed for each of their face down foundations.
and then if you block,
If you block, you can play face down
as a
as
reversal.
a reversal. It doesn't need to say your regular, as if it was your regular reversal. You don't need to say paying all costs. You could just list the symbols that you're giving it, etc.
And actually, I'm sorry. Did I say the response? R once per turn. After you block your rival's attack, they must flip a foundation.
Yeah, that would also be sure. Yeah.
I think this guy's cool. I mean, you have Crescent Moonhook on a stick here. Like, your dude is Crescent Moonhook.
Yeah, I like this uses a theme that's already in the game, the face down theme, and it takes it in a direction that it hasn't been taken at all. Where it's it's kind of similar. Like, there's a character like this who reversals your opponent's stuff, but it wasn't tied to the face down theme, and like the momentum and equals speed reduced. I think angle is pretty sweet. This character, I don't know, like I don't think this character is a perfect design, and I don't think he's gonna like crush tournaments, but he does a good job with what's available to it.
I kind of. Oh, go ahead, Jesse. I'm sorry.
The thing that really got me about this character was the one thing of doing something. One thing I always looked at was my big thing about judging was doing something different, and this one being like give it a static ability to a character card to make it more usable than just being a character card.
Yeah, it's a gauge character that's not a gauge character.
Yeah, this is just a character. If I'm playing this character right now, if I block with it, my opponent flip the foundation of their choice.
Yeah,
like,
you would need to make it a response type, but yeah.
Yes.
But
But it's the same idea as like the one turn loose foundation character that's breaker. Like, I'll run those hand in hand.
You can imagine like a full DLC where you're basically giving each symbol a card like this, where all of the characters have some sort of on-block effect.
Yeah.
Just to sort of spice up the format, and then everybody needs to get that DLC if they want to play buddy blocks for the zero mids.
I mean,
yeah, and we've seen Noob Saibot sets the bar pretty high for how
that's true.
At least what has been printed. I guess I can't say what should be printed, but
yeah.
Alrighty, let's look at the attack. We have God Press. It's a 6/3, 1 mid for 6. It's got throw and powerful 3, which I gotta say I missed on my first read through. E, choose one foundation your rival's stage, and they flip it down. And then E, this attack gains damage equal to the number of face-down foundations in your opponent's stage. I think if we knock throw off of this, I think it's completely respectable.
What are you talking about?
A powerful 3 throw? Back in my day, back when Tim and I designed cards, powerful and throw just weren't allowed. Banned.
Sean, did you know? Did you know that I can make Forbidden Moonset a 9-high for 17 with like 2 cards?
But it's not a throw.
Yeah, it is. You're Colo Khan.
It's like if your opponent attempts to block this, they fail their block and die. No, powerful 3, like it's not even just the standard for what damage means these days is just not what you think it is. Right, like I remember Moonbeam Slicer was like a dope card because wow, powerful 3, that's so big. If your opponent blocking this, you spend 1 momentum for 1.5 damage. That's an awful rate, and they're always blocking this. It's a 1 mid 6.
Yeah, I think this is a neat iteration on Mexican Typhoon type. Obviously the obvious comp is Flight of the Wicked, right? This is a Flight of the Wicked that gets 1 more difficulty in return for a target flip. And the powerful 3.
It's like it's a cross between Flight of the Wicked and Spinning Pile Driver, and also like some attack with a 0 mid block. Like I think it's actually Tiger Scream is the card that was coming to my mind.
Yeah.
It's like Spinning Pile Driver and Tiger Scream had a baby, where it can deal big damage. It can threaten big damage. It threatens big damage on its own, and it does a little bit of utility, but it's got a very high cost. It's very easy to block, and it has a little bit of utility on defense. I think it's a perfect DLC card.
Didn't we ban Tiger Scream?
Yeah, but for the wrong. But
completely
because it's
unrelated
stupid.
reasons.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated.
Because of Jesse and his stupid Kung Jin deck.
It was not mine that led the charge.
I mean, I just...
I wanted it to be.
Oh,
I was playing.
It was
I was playing
Kyrie's,
Tiger
right?
Stream in my Kung Jin deck, but it was just as a one-of to copy with Tech Sphere.
Yeah. It wasn't a plan.
Get out of here, both of you. All right, next we have Ruthless Cunning. It's a 3/6 +1 mid-block foundation that's unique. It says response. If your opponent flips a foundation up, ready this foundation. So if they unflip something, you get to ready. Playable while committed. And then E, commit, and flip. Choose 2 foundations in your rival's stage, and they choose 1 to flip.
No, 1 to commit.
One to commit and flip the other, sorry.
Yeah.
I think in a unique, it probably doesn't need to be a 3/6. Probably could be
I don't
like...
think it needs to be unique or 3/6 really, but it's I think the sort of they choose what to do with each card. Obviously reduces the power level by a decent amount. You still get to probably take out 2 foundations with this, one temporarily and one forever. So depending on the situation, you're probably pretty happy with that. But it's a nice idea. Like, we don't have effects like this really, so it's cool to see. This is sort of a creative card that isn't trying to like invent a new keyword or do some wildly crazy thing. It's just finding new space that's one step off the road.
I have a judge question. So, if I choose 2 foundations in my rival's stage, and I choose a face down and a face up, that takes the choice away from them, right? Because you can't flip a face down foundation. So you can force flip whatever you want if you choose one of each.
Right. You just played a much worse Servant of Ares. But yes, you could do that.
Listen,
that's pretty funny, actually.
If this is what's in my stage and I need to get rid of something, I will do that.
Yeah.
I love this more now that you pointed it out. Because if I choose a committed foundation and a face up foundation, you have to flip the face down, or you have to flip the committed one because you can't choose to commit a committed card. And so if they have a playable while committed that's annoying you,
right?
That's gunning. Boom. Yeah, so I love this. I would.
Yeah, maybe it does need to be either 3 def or unique, but I don't think it needs to be 3 def and unique.
Yeah, maybe slap a your turn on it, and you can feel a little better too.
Yeah.
Or your attack, perhaps.
I also appreciate the commit and flip on the cost. Like, I know it's more words and like more text on cards and kind of confusing, but
that's a cat.
I like the willingness to use that.
Yeah, and it's thematic that it's committing and flipping and committing and flipping.
Alrighty, any final thoughts on Rugal?
I like them. I like boss characters, so I'm all for it. I know there's a man in the north who would love to play Rugal. So.
Yeah, he would probably really. I know he likes the face down decks too. This could be his DLC for all we know, actually.
Yeah, for all we know, it's the man from the north. Ooh.
Which man from the north are we talking about? There's an awful lot of them.
The man.
I mean, it could be the man or one of his butlers.
I was about to say. Are you talking about Garrett or Devin Bernier or? All right, let's move on to the next one. Next we have Kashiri from the Shadow War DLC.
Jeez.
That's a blast from the past, huh?
Yeah.
I made Kashiri a 2-dot since we've had a Kashiri before. So this Kashiri is a 7 hand size, 17 vitality character with 4 abilities. While ready, your rival must reveal a block card as an additional cost to play blocks. I love that ability, by the way. Desperation R. After a card is played, gain 1 vitality, or your opponent loses. Or your opponent loses 1.
After a card is revealed.
Oh, after a card's revealed, sorry. The text is very small on my screen. Arcommit. After your rival reveals a card, they block with the revealed card instead. And then R once per turn. After you block your rival's attack, they must choose and flip a foundation in their stage.
We did not have that text, Sean, making this decision.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
that last line that we
that's
did not
new to
have.
Me.
We did not have that one in our decision.
I'll start off by saying it's probably unnecessary, but
we already think the character's good. We don't need more.
Well, if you guys weren't sure about Kashiri before, I'll give you a little extra bit there.
So
Go ahead, Tim.
yeah, just to sort of fill people in who weren't playing 12 years ago. God. The original
Never
Kasheri,
remind me again of that, how long that was.
the original Kasheri, I'm going a little bit off memory here, but basically she did a thing where she made your opponent reveal cards and then made them discard cards. So she had these things that triggered off of revealing cards. So that's why this character is playing with the revealing card space. It's feeding off of the original there.
Yeah. Wow, Shadow War really was that long ago.
Yes.
How many sets did we release in the last 12 years?
Yeah. So anyway, Kasheri, like I really like the card Chaos Scissors, which has a sort of similar shaped effect where your opponent has to show you a low block in order to block it. But then she bumps that up obviously all the way because it's her character card. She's doing it to every block. And I think it's really cool. It's kind of just it's fun to think about, like how you would approach this, what it tells your opponent when you show them a block in your hand, how the value of cards in your deck change as you know your opponent's gonna have some information as they start poking you.
I just got a message from the card creator. I screwed up. That last ability is not supposed to be there.
Oh, okay.
So sorry to the card creator, who will remain anonymous since Kevin, Jesse, and Tim aren't supposed to know who it is.
I appreciate you PMing that to Sean instead of leaking your identity to us.
But yeah, I think this is cool. I like the design space. I'm glad somebody wants to explore this some more.
Yeah, like a lot of these cards, it would probably need some like molding to really make work rules wise, and you have some like questions here about what if they reveal something with a block that they can't possibly play and things like that. But
Then
the
they
idea
lose.
is
Good day, sir. You get nothing.
right.
Reveal
Yeah,
a non-block. Block with your non-block.
In some sufficiently abstract sense, you know, if this is getting printed into today's UFS, I don't want to print a 717 who just gets killed. That seems less than great, but
You have to have a really good back. You have to have a really good moment.
Yeah.
Like this is what.
This is all offense. Like, you need
Yeah.
to put big numbers on the table and hope your opponent does not have many block cards in your hand. Tell you where this probably would not fly: the My Hero Academia format, because you don't get to attack until turn 4.
You know who this makes me feel? You know what this feels like is, and I think I'm very base. That idea of like you have to have a certain amount of cards to be able to stop your opponent from killing you. When base was kind of like the boogeyman of the format for that weird.
Oh yeah, because he would make
'cause
you
of
like
his-
discard your hand and add your hand to your card
Like-
pool.
Yeah, like it has that weird feeling here. Like man,
Memories of my worst PTC ever.
All right, let's move on to Divergent Strikes. This is a 5/3, 3 mid for 5 attack. Has a lot of keywords: Desperation 3, Multiple 2, Reversal. Multiple copies of this attack have the following enhances on them. First E, if this attack is partially blocked, it gets +4 damage. And then first E, if this attack is fully blocked, gain 2 vitality and draw 2 cards. So I like that because you have to try to guess what your opponent's about to do, right? If you want to get maximum benefit.
yeah, and if you're Kasheri, you have a leg up because you've seen a card in their hand at least. You know, once
Oh.
no.
uh-oh.
I'm fine. I'm alive.
You froze right when you started coughing.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, and I like that I like this using first E's where they actually give you a choice, where you don't just get to, you know, hit your one first E and then not to think about it anymore. You do have to make a choice between the two options.
Yeah, I could live without the reversal on our 5 damage multiple too. One of the funny things
Coward.
about the submissions for this is I think more than half of them or something like that had multiple reversals in them. And I was just really annoyed after a point, like, oh, there's another one.
Yeah, multiple and reversal are two
Or
scary keywords to go together.
Reversible, or if you block with this, reverse with it.
Yeah,
Like,
there are a lot of
that
those
was
too.
Yeah, I'd be a lot happier with this card if it kind of spent its like budget as far as its power level just on anything but reversal, any other way.
Would you guys like a fun factoid?
Sure.
Well, actually, it's a survey question for you three. How many, without going over, multiple reversals have been printed in Universe's history?
Do we count character-only reversals or multiples?
Sure.
Yeah, so are you gonna look at UFS Ultra and just check both boxes?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm gonna guess 7.
7.
I was gonna say 10.
Jesse?
I think the higher. I'll go 11.
Alrighty. Jesse, you are the winner. Winner chicken dinner. There were 16 printed.
Okay. Less than 1 per year?
17.
Just about 1 per year?
Because you probably didn't count
Reverberate's not in UFS Ultra.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. 17. So Jesse still wins.
How many of them are in standard?
So there's Calamitous Judgment, Dita Dilamento, Violent Tatsumaki. So there are 4.
And only one of
I
those
fixed
isn't
more.
a character only. Or no, they all have character only on 1 or 2 of one of those keywords, right?
Yeah, Grow Multiple 1, Jada Multiple 2,
Ken reversal, Sailor reversal.
Tatsumaki is a Deadlock reversal.
Okay, yeah.
That's our fun fact. So let's move on before we run out of time tonight. We have
Manipulating Fate, right?
Manipulating Fate. 2/5 with a 3 mid-block foundation. Response card pool. After your rival reveals a card, their next check to play a block gets -1. Add this card to your card pool. Your rival reveals 1 card from their hand at random. If it has a block, your attack gets +X speed. X equals that block's printed modifier.
This was actually the card that really I liked it for it. This was actually the card of the support that was like, this is really cool. Like, I'm gonna slide this up. I trigger the reveal immediately, so I get I get my response off. You're already -1 of your check. Oh, I hit a block. Oh, and I hit a block. Plus, I get more speed on my attack. Like, it just was a really cool slide up card. For that design spot. I like that.
And you double up with Kashiri too, so you get the check -2.
Yeah, and the off play is you're off of progressive, your card pool for the turn. So that's why I thought it was a good balance. And if you're crazy, you drag multiples of these up. You can just you really want this to hit. You're like slide. It just seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, this has the shape of destroy this foundation, your attack gets +3-ish speed, which is reasonable. It's hard to gauge what the actual power level of this is. It's a little, it feels like a bit of a stretch, but I like the idea of sort of having a card pool response that plays off of and adds a cool thing.
Yeah, I kind of like +2. Let's say you play her multiple 3 reversal, and you blocked with a Manipulating Fate, and you're playing Kashiri.
Yeah.
Then you get to max value there, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So very cool. I'm glad to see Shadow War back again. I think I'm the only Universes player who liked that license, except for obviously the person who submitted here. Yay, Shadow War.
I appreciated it. I wouldn't have minded getting some actual backstory and stuff and seeing what they did with it, but it wasn't good for bringing new people in.
No, it was not.
No.
Yeah.
Remember Marius Gaius, Sean?
I love
Oh,
Marius
he's so fun.
Gaius. He was the best.
Man, how much better it would be if we knew how to play Superior Technique back then too?
Dang. All right, let's move on. So next we have Vespera 3 from the Red Horizon DLC.
That's Spider Lady.
Yay! So Vespera is a 6/28 +0 mid-block character with Death Evil Life, of course. Once per turn, discard a momentum. After a non-character responsibility is played, cancel that effect. Yeet, reversal, delete. Let's see. Changes attack zone to mid or low. If you've played this ability for the second or greater time this turn, commit this card and add 1 reversal from your discard pile to your hand. And we get flavor text. I love flavor text. It's easy to watch others dig their own grave. Just make sure you've not dug your own first. So
I'm not going to try to parse what that's actually supposed to mean.
I think that's just something that the character would say.
It's just supposed to sound edgy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like this E. It's another way to look at the original Vespera without being the same thing, right? You have to do some sort of thing to get a reversal to your hand. And this isn't quite as broken because realistically you only do it once or twice per turn.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really. I think it's a very elegant package around a E: tweak zones, where you kind of have a quest on your opponent's turn if they're attacking you and you need to find reversals, or if you want to punish them or whatever, like you can block reversal and then change the zone of your reversal and go tutor up your block or tutor up your next block or your next reversal, or you can wait and hope that they keep attacking you or whatever.
Yeah, and you can use that on offense. Her inclusion here has a lot to do with this enhance, in my mind.
Yeah, same.
I like the flexibility of using that enhance on offense. The response is a little tech down, but like for a character that has sort of a really powerful mainstay ability, it's kind of nice that the other ability isn't trying to add a completely other theme to the card or something that doesn't really need it. It's just sort of a useful effect that's going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, also, I like the idea that, Vespera was for, like, the longest time the queen of reversals, and she's got to protect that. She's like, no. My V reversal,
Get out of here, reversal. Don't reversal me. And this matches two symbols with Rochester CCG. No, so this Vespera never gets reversaled. Next we have Eradication Driver. It's a 5/3, 3 low for 6, plus 2 mid-block attack. That's a reversal, safe throw. Man, that sounds familiar. Response. After you block an attack with this card, you may play it as a reversal. E, if this attack is unblocked, gain 4 vitality and add 1 rival foundation to their momentum. So,
Go ahead.
Did we just make Spider Suplex better?
Yeah, this is this is sort of definitely the sore spot of like I said, we have complaints about all of these. Oh, this card is my complaint about this kit. Does
it have enough bells and whistles yet? We should have more bells and whistles.
Yeah, it's very like let's power creep, cash grab, spider suplex, and I talked like in our discussions, it's a little bit of an unfair advantage being able to sort of look at old support and say like, how can we play with these cards? And to respond to leverage that advantage in the form of like we're just gonna power creep some old card instead of doing stuff that plays off of her old support. It's just that doesn't quite rub me right.
So would you have felt better if this was like something kind of like Paralyzing Touch, but not quite as broken, but probably okay now?
I mean, that's kind of what this is. Instead of being like self-clearing, it's an auto reversal 3 check that has throw.
Well, I don't think it would. I don't think you could have the auto clear effect anymore.
Right.
You take that. And I'll say this. This was definitely out of the 2 out of 3 cards. This was the one that was kind of like okay. It felt kind of weird, and it just didn't like. But it. I know what they're objectiving for, but you don't always need to power key cash grab a card. You don't. It's not always necessary. Sometimes you got to try something. Sometimes you do. Maybe it's a situation they felt that was the right play, but it's all right. This is a solid attack. Like it's just like here's your bells and whistles.
Right.
Yeah, like I think there are attacks that are shaped sort of like this. Like I think of Wind Embrace, and this card just clowns on Wind Embrace 6 ways to Sunday.
All right, let's move on to Web of Lies, because she's a spider. It's a 2/5 with a 3 high block with Death, Evil, and Life. No keywords. E flip. If you block an attack with this card, it deals no damage. I'm sorry, if you block this attack with an attack card, small text, it deals no damage. If you play a reversal to this attack, your rival destroys a foundation. Vespera F remove. Both players may unflip 2 foundations. If your opponent unflipped any foundations, gain 2 vitality for each one unflipped. Ooh, and we got some flavor text, guys. Ah, what a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. Too bad for you that this is my desired outcome for you, Natali. Ooh, sounds like Natali and Vespera had a falling out in this story.
I mean, they never. I mean, so far as I know, it's never been. Vespera's never really been on board, so.
Yeah. So my favorite thing here is just that your opponent gets the chance to unflip too, but then you get paid if they do. I just think that's neat. And then kind of similarly, I like the first ability. If you block with an attack card, it deals no damage. I think that's also just cool play patterns.
Mm-hmm. I like the unflip trick of I'm gonna auto unflip too, but if you want to, you gotta give me some life out. You gotta pay me some life back for it. I like that little idea. Especially because this is a non-unique. Like, I will like get two of them. Like, all right, I'm gonna unflip my board. Would you like to unflip your board? Yes or no? And it's just kind of like a cool little playoff. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we like not like a hard rule or anything, but it's kind of interesting. I'm sort of noticing when we look at them in this format that we pick two cards that are sort of cool iterations on Ophidiophobia, like Ophidiophobia with some like funny extra steps to them. But it's neat, right? It's just like taking one step off the road to find design space instead of trying to go completely wild and crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think in a lot of card games, and I mean, I think all of us have been around the block a few times, there's cards that start out early in the game's life that's, kind of a blanket covers everything, like counter spell, counter target spell. And the number of ways that Wizards has been able to iterate on counter target spell over the last 30 years is the same sort of area where we're exploring with the different Ophidiophobia effects here.
Yeah.
And before Ophidiophobia, we had Strange Fashion and Revenant's Calling. And so I think it's cool that we're experimenting with cool different things. If Jasco didn't have the next 4 sets designed, they probably could get some cards from here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we ready for the last DLC of the first week?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we have Zafina from the Tekken DLC. We've had some nice throwback DLCs tonight. We had Tekken, Shadow War. People really liked the Universal Namco system. Or the Universal Fire system, I guess. Alright, so Zafina is a 7-hand size 18 vitality character with Death, Evil, and Life. With E, your attack. If the first attack in your card pool is a high attack, your opponent pitches a momentum. E, your attack once per turn. If the first attack in your card pool is a mid attack, your opponent destroys a foundation. And then lastly, E, your attack. If the first card in your attack wow, I'm having trouble here. They're so similar. If the first attack in your card pool is a low attack, gain 2 vitality. My tongue was getting tied up there. So, this character reminds me of Christy Montiero from the Tekken 6 set. Because she did the thing where she played slippery kicks, side flop, and samba, and just kept picking them up and moving them around and doing what she needed to do. So, I think this is a great callback, but still doing something a little bit different.
Oh man, there's like one reasonably large tournament where Christy Montiero like Swiss champed or something out of nowhere, and the entire community for the next 6 months was like, "Is she good?" Like,
the answer is no, she was not.
I just want to state that tournament had like 25 players, but we were so starving for a big event that we were like, everyone was just
at the time 25 was like half a Worlds.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that deck I'm pretty sure had Playful Slice. So, good play good cards, win games.
Yeah, that was definitely a tournament in Rochester, wasn't it?
No, it was.
I think it was Cali.
Oh, okay.
It was a Cali tournament. I wasn't even playing when this happened. I just remember being at Living with Sean when it happened, and hearing about this. I'm like, what do you mean, Chrissy popped an event? I'm like, okay. Oh, that was fun times.
Alrighty, so let's move on to her attack. Cursed Claw. 4/3 4 mid for 5 with a +2 mid block. Oh wait, Tim, I'm sorry, did I get ahead of you?
I feel like we never actually talked about the character. We just talked about Christy.
Oh, you're right. We were too busy on memory lane.
But yeah, sort of my reaction to this character, sort of like, I don't know what exactly all these effects should be, power level wise or whatever, but I sort of like this idea of that your character can sort of option between a few different modes, and you could ostensibly build your deck as a monozone deck if you really want to, if you only ever want one mode. So it'd be tricky to balance all these three to make people play multiple zones, but you could have, oh, I'm a high mid Zafina, oh, I'm a mid low Zafina. It's almost like a talent tree or something where you're sort of picking how you want to balance out your odds of getting each effect, and I think that's really neat.
I have a question and I know maybe this wasn't taken into effect. Zone changes on a card during an enhanced, do they refresh now? They don't refresh now, right? Like it's
right. Yeah. It will stick. The zone change will stick. Yeah.
Okay, so if I could play a mono zone, but like if I have zone change options, it stays there, and then I keep okay.
Oh,
yeah, there's also
sure.
little ways to play with this.
That's a space I didn't even consider because I thought that the card still refreshed because you change the rules all the time.
I thought it was just a really cool character. I love it. It's just like one of those we're playing with a design option that's different and referencing cards in card pool. That was a really attractive me to this character.
Yeah, this might be an appropriate space for printed because I hate having people keying very important decisions on what's in the front of your card pool.
All right, now can we move on to the attack?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have Cursed Claw, 4/3, 4 mid for 5 with a +2 mid block, multiple 2, and weapon. Let's see. The first multiple copy of this card is a high attack rather, spelt wrong because I'm a dummy, and then the second is a low attack. Multiple copies of this attack gain first E. You may move this attack to the beginning of your card pool.
Yeah, so I guess it can't be printed because it has to key with this, but this is
yeah. I think I should just I understand, but I would have liked to see a different way to sort of do this. This feels a little ham-fisted, a little character only. But I understand, it's hard to come up with an attack that one attack. If this was a full support kit, it'd be easy. You just make a high attack, a mid attack, and a low attack for them, right?
Mm-hmm. Slippery kick, samba, and side flop.
Yeah. My idea would be, if you wanted to make this word correctly, it'd be just have each give it enhance it gives all the multiples change the zone of the person. Okay, I'll just change the zone of this, and then you keep flipping it up as needed.
So what I think would make this card not so character only is if instead of first E move to the beginning of the card pool, if you had E rearrange your card pool, right? So that if you were going to play this could see some utility in other decks where you're trying to make combos, or you need a foundation in a certain spot or stuff like that.
I appreciate that's a multiple we didn't slap reversal on.
Yeah,
I was gonna make that joke.
Oh, that's so boring. We need more multiple reversals.
Yeah, I think people like Deathblow. I think we're not so far removed from a world where Deathblow with one less difficulty and a fine block it could live. Although it is a little bit underpowered these days.
But... Yeah, Deathblow was the only card that killed me in 2017 Worlds.
You could say it was a death blow to Tim Keefe.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have, let's get onto this foundation. Let's take this one home. We have Weaver of Fate. 2/4 with a 2 low block. F flip. Add 1 attack from your discard pile to your card pool in any order. Discard a card from either player's card pool.
I like this card for 2 reasons. One, obviously, I like the idea of put the attack anywhere to get it in the right spot for combo. But also getting rid of cards in your make your opponent discard their hand cannon. Hey, I'm gonna flip this. I don't get to add this time, but I get to kill the hand cannon so that I can activate another one and do my shit. I'm all for it.
Yeah, getting rid of a hand cannon Too bad you can't get rid of a Dark Chirito with this.
You can't even play this
Bad
ability.
times.
Yet.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not saying every card's perfect. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
get like some cards that have like there's counterplay cards for a reason.
But yeah, I think this is a solid foundation. I think it would see play. I think overall Zafina, very solid.
I've tried to get this card printed at least once or twice. Like pretty much this exact same idea for like combo themed characters.
Yeah, I can tell you that Ryan Field in Wings and Claw, the card Wings and Claws,
I did
have a
print
special
it.
relationship.
Yeah. There we go. We got there once. We did get a card like this at one point.
How much play did it see? Was it popular?
No.
We were dragging in. The biggest thing we ever figured out was to drag in Eradicates while not playing Vespera, so they were forced to be discarded from the card pool. When that was the rule.
I know that it saw play in Jeddah because you would tutor a reversal and pick it up with his response.
Yeah.
I know it saw play in Ryan Field's Ed and Cells deck. But I forget if that was just doing it just as a really shitty last ditch gamble or what.
It was in. He had it in one of the last versions of Lavamba.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah,
Love
so the Ed and Cells
Lava!
loop deck. You just needed every way imaginable to kick a deck from the card pool, even if that card had a terrible cost associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. Yes, you totally had that in End Cells. What else was I playing for? Do I not know what this card does?
At any rate, that is our final DLC finalist for tonight. Now, if your DLC was not picked this week, no need to worry, because we are going to be doing this for the next 4 weeks, where we pick our top 5 finalists from each symbol set. So you still effectively have 15 chances to get in with your submitted DLC. So don't worry, you still have a chance to make the top notch. I believe next week we are going to be reviewing, let me pull up my schedule here, we're going to be reviewing the Air, Chaos, and Void DLCs. So I can't wait to see what licenses we see for next week. Could be some of the same, could be new, could be the Golden Girls. I mean, who knows? Could be anything. I would love it to be the Golden Girls.
Yeah, I mean, my expectation going into this is that, we might have a lot of repeats from like the same DLCs, but we'll see. Because there were a lot that were sort of on the bubble egg mixing, trying to figure out like our 4th and 5th picks here. So, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll just have a bunch of different. Maybe we'll get like 15 different people across 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
I hope.
You never know. So on that note, let's do our housekeeping for the week. We're still taking pre-orders for the My Hero Academia set, coming out in Q3 summer soon. Soon. If you need money for that, remember our buy list is always open. I'm always buying your cards. And please get your pre-orders in soon. I do know when the pre-order deadline is. I just don't know if it's public yet. So I have to keep that under my hat until I hear back from Asmodee. But it's soon. So please get your pre-orders in to make sure that they are not allocated. Because no matter how many times I say it on air, Jason's not going to print enough of this set. I guarantee it with the way CCGs have been this year. Have you tried buying Pokemon? It's behind the service desk at Target right now. Yeah. Locked up. So,
the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and also other breakfast cereals are behind the service desk at Walmart currently because it has Pokemon cards.
I bought 200 Happy Meals. No, I did not. I don't need Pokemon cards that badly, but there were people who did. So get your pre-orders in, because like I said, I don't think Jasco will print enough. I told them to print 500,000 boxes. I think they laughed at me, but he who laughs last lasts longest, right? So, haha. All right, on that note, thank you for watching. We'll be back for some more DLC next week. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
I totally got the saying wrong. Son of a pup.